Hey guys, what's up? Back with more Spear of the Church action. It's been a bit since I've recorded one of these, and I've amassed a bit of a backlog of material, so I thought it would be fun to do another one of these. Here I've got a one-on-one fight with some guy, and for whatever reason I made a mistake and I inadvertently cast Hidden Body instead of what I was trying to do, which was the Tears of Denial. You know, the one frustrating thing about this Covenant is that you get summoned so infrequently, especially on these higher level builds, that you really can't spec yourself out completely for the Spear of the Church, or if you do, you're stuck using that build for things that are not spear related, and it's kind of frustrating. So I definitely am not equipped with the spells I want. These are PvE spells. I was doing something, I think in Irithyll Dungeon when I got summoned. So I just kind of have to make do with what I have. So I end up just going pretty much straight melee with this guy. And I noticed that he's got Frida's Scythe, which usually means that the user's going to spam the weapon art. And when that happens, I usually just try to parry it and end the fight pretty quickly. But this guy either is sophisticated enough to know the parry risk, or he just, you know, is a sensible player and prefers to mix it up with some of the attacks. I saw him take out his parry shield a couple times, so I've been a bit wary. He hasn't gone for a parry yet, but I know if he's got his shield out, he will eventually. So right now I'm just trying to get in and take away his range advantage. And there I see he swings multiple times into my shield. A lot of players I think do what I do, which is sometimes they don't think about it and they do it, and then they realize, oh shit, I shouldn't do that, and then they won't do it again. But here I totally know that he's going to go for the parry after the heal if I rush in, and I was able to get him. That's really satisfying. I really enjoy parrying back, or backstabbing parries like that. And this is always such a great sight to see when you come in. Oh man. Anytime I see 4 players like that, I just think, oh shit, here we go. Because I know, win or lose, it's going to be a really tense, protracted fight. So what I really like to do if I can, I like to get them in a train, kind of following me around the arena. And better players won't fall for that, and they'll come in and try to flank you from the side. But on occasion I can get all 4 of them just kind of chasing after me, which is the ideal situation. And there I didn't really have my head about me. I should never have exposed my back like that when I was buffing my weapon, and I paid for it. Great shield or otherwise, dude, I'm gonna break that thing as long as you're taking those magic orbs into it. Man, the hitbox on those boulders is just redonkulous. Actually, in part because of this experience and an experience I saw that Saint had during one of his streams, I picked up the boulder on my Pyro character, one of my Pyro characters anyway. It may actually be this one. I think I'm going to give it a try and see how much luck I have with it. I haven't used it really yet. It's a constant challenge in these spear invasions where you're chasing after somebody and trying to finish them off, and you got a whole bunch of players that are chasing after you to prevent you from finishing them off, and how to try to stay out of the way of their weapons, but at the same time punish the other guy. And here I get like stuck inside that pyro, and it nearly kills me. And because I'm not spec'd out for Spear of the Church invasions, I have no healing spells on me, so I have absolutely no way to heal in this situation, which I think is almost a must-have. It almost makes me feel like I should keep a healing spell on me at all times I'm playing with a character that's eligible for these invasions, just to prevent this from happening. But yeah, I see everyone focused on the Guardian, so I just start chucking Black Serpents at them, hoping that something's going to stick. But it really didn't do much. And so now I'm kind of screwed. But I see that the host hasn't healed either, so I don't think he has much Estus either. And I see him cast warmth, and in one of my earlier videos, I stood in the warmth and it didn't do anything. So I'm not really thinking I'm going to be able to take advantage of it, but as I stand next to him momentarily, I see the glow, and I see that it is actually healing me. So this guy and I are now kind of in a duel to fight not only for the win, but also who gets to stand next to warmth and get its benefits. And there I'm able to poise through his one hit and finish off. But that was a nail biter. That was super close. And in fact, if he hadn't cast warmth, I'm not sure. I might have lost that fight. So that actually worked out to my benefit. And right away I see this guy's got the meme swords. And I got people throwing fire bombs at me, and I got ultra swords swinging at me, which is never a good situation. So I'm trying to run away and kind of scout the field and see what I'm up against, and it doesn't look very good. Now it looks like I got patches, and that's actually good because patches gives you, every phantom in here gives you extra poise, gives you extra defense, extra stamina, etc., etc. But he's kind of a waste of skin in terms of an actual offensive threat. So I'd almost rather people summon him than not. But it's the 3 humans that I'm really worried about. And I think, a frustration for anyone invading, it's certainly true for me, and these Spear of the Church or just normal invasions, is I play against players and I look at any one of them and I think, oh, I would just crush you one-on-one in a heartbeat. But, it's not one-on-one, it's 3-on-1, it's 4-on-1. And they don't have to be very good to beat you when there's that many of them. The greatest threat is getting stun locked. And I really want to give From a lot of credit for the way that they've implemented this Covenant. They've really thought through a lot of the typical problems with PvP. I'm sure they've learned from the community feedback, and the fact that they give you not just a lot of poise, but they give you a poise of a very specific type, which is that Dark Souls 1 type poise where I don't have to swing my weapon to enjoy the benefits of the poise. Because if they could stun you, lock you like in a normal invasion, you'd get hit one time, everybody else would pile on and swing on you, and that would be all she wrote. But because it makes it harder for them to stun lock you, it takes away one of the big benefits they have of being in a group. So as always, you're trying to fight one player at a time if you can. And this Ring Greatsword player here actually seems reasonably cagey. He's not just mindlessly spamming L1 on his Ring Greatswords, so I give it a shot with Black Flame, and then when he rolls out, I'm able to roll catch him. I give him a bit of the business there with my shield. I was pretty happy to get rid of him. He was quite a thorn in my side. And it's funny because just like when you're getting ganked as an invader, there's spells and things that really aren't much of a threat normally, but when there's groups of enemies attacking you, suddenly become a problem. And that Black Fire Orb, I think, is a good example of that. And in some sense, I gank the host there with the Guardian. The Guardian's taking his attention, and it gives me the opportunity to get in there and hit him with the Black Fire Orb. I think this just really frustrates the shit out of hosts, which is kind of the goal. Just really staying on their nuts, not swinging. The smarter ones figure it out and they'll start swinging on you. Otherwise I can just kind of make them blow all their stamina rolling around, which is fun. Anytime I win one of those 4v1s, I feel like it's a pretty huge accomplishment. I say that, in fact, I think I've probably only lost one 4v1. So I saw that the Dark Moon got sent home, which in all probability means that they got invaded on the way to the boss fight. And I see that there's a password summon Phantom here, so he probably went with him, with the host, all the way through. And he's got that headpiece, I forget what it's called, but it increases magic damage. So with my crystal magic weapon, he's taking extra damage, which really works out well in my favor. But I see that he's not healing. He's got the warmth spell here that he keeps going to and trying to heal. But this tells me he's probably completely out of Estus. Probably because he was summoned by password. He and the host probably had some plan where he was going to use Ash and Estus to harass me with spells, Crystal Soul Spears, whatever. But because I got on him right away and because the host was tied up, he wasn't able to do that. And unfortunately, the buff on my my sword wore out right as I went for the riposte. I'm not much of a spellcaster. Outside of PvE, I do not use spells really at all. So this is me just kind of like throwing some shit at a wall to see what sticks. And the answer is really not very much. So I think pretty quickly here I'm going to go back in for some melee. And man, this Moonlight Greatsword, this thing is so awesome. Most of the people watching this video by this point probably already know, but it does magic damage, and most people don't have very good magic defenses, and it does a really good job of eating through shields. So even if on paper the AR isn't spectacular in comparison to other weapons, other greatswords, in practice it does a ton of damage. And it does not lose much AR when you one-hand it, because most of the damage is coming from the int scaling, not from any strength, which is what primarily benefits you using something two-handed rather than one-handed. This here is my Faith build. Is another one that got summoned unexpectedly, and watching that Sunbro trying to run into the back of the spears was sort of amusing to me. And I see these guys bow and wave, and you know, man, anytime somebody does that, I'm going to return that. I always think it's cool when people are being friendly. I don't think there's any obligation to play that way, but I'm certainly not going to shit on them for playing that way and trying to be cool. And here I'm using the Drakeblood Greatsword with a Dark Moonblade buff, which just absolutely annihilates people as a very powerful weapon. The problem is that without the buff, it's really nothing impressive. So I've either got to keep it buffed or I've got to switch to something else. And the host, unfortunately, there he catches me right as I'm out of my roll. I totally saw that attack coming. I'm not sure how I didn't parry it. And I can see the host is coming up right behind me, so I'm trying to keep pressure on the Sunbro while at the same time avoiding the host. And after a certain point, I realize I gotta back off. You can see the damage has really fallen off of this Drakeblood sword without the buff on it. I probably should have stopped and rebuffed. And here, yeah, I can see I'm switched to the Karthus Curve sword. Have something a little faster, because I see he's just trying to avoid my attacks. He's waiting and rolling when he sees me swing, which is really smart. And here I wait to swing because I'm expecting him to start panic rolling right away, but he doesn't. When this weapon is so fast, you know, you can usually wait for him to start rolling and then halfway through the roll swing the weapon and catch the roll. It's just nuts how powerful that weapon is. It's still very powerful. I know it's fallen out of favor somewhat with respect to the meta, but it is still a fantastic weapon. I finally come to my senses here and realize I need to buff this thing. And for I have no idea what I was doing there. If you have more than one person here fighting against the spears, you almost cannot swing more than once. Like, you can swing once and then get out, otherwise you're basically screwed. Guys, thanks for checking in. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Thanks for stopping by.